Hello and welcome to Pickles Garage. Today we're working on the 1993 Z28 Camaro. Please ignore the clear coat. I didn't do it myself, but it is peeling pretty badly. But specifically today we're working on the map sensor. Now I'll go over what a map sensor does and how to replace it quickly on this 93. So let's dive in. Alright, so for starters, a MAP sensor stands for Manifold Absolute Pressure sensor. What it does is it measures the vacuum or the internal pressure of your intake manifold so it can make adjustments to timing and the air-fuel mixture. Now, why that's important is because it's communicating directly with your ECM. So if your ECM is getting bad information on the data that is happening inside your manifold, then your engine won't run well. It might stall, it might have really rough idle, you might have emissions issues, like it might be running really fuely. And so it's very important that if it is running poorly to go ahead and replace it. Now, it is a fairly simple repair, so I'm going to run right through it, but you can find them easily as well. This is a Duralast unit. That is part number right there. I just got it at my local auto parts store. It was just under 70 bucks, but like I said, it's pretty easy repair, so let's go ahead and dive right into it. Now with any repairs like this, I always recommend go ahead and pull the new one out of the box, and then it will help you identify the location of your old one, right? Naturally, you should know what the issues are so that you know you're replacing the right part, but again, just kind of seeing where the mounting surfaces are and where everything is going to plug into is very helpful, because we can look across the engine and see something very similar right here. Now that's the original GM part, or at least it's a GM part that they replaced the original with. I'm replacing it with Duralast, which I wouldn't normally recommend, but I was in a pinch. So that is our part, but before we do anything with electronics, it's always advisable to go ahead and remove the negative side of the battery. So this was a 5/16 wrench that I already broke it loose. So I'm just going to unscrew it the rest of the way, get that negative side removed. That way we don't have to worry about anything arcing or shorting out while we're doing this repair. So safely removed. Now we're going to address the plug here. So normally there'd be a clip right here. If you do still have it, they gave you a slot right here, so you can use kind of a screwdriver just to lift it over that nub, and then this will pull straight down. So it's already breaking in my hand a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm going to actually use two hands just so I don't further break this unit. But this, as long as yours is also intact, should slide straight down once you remove that first clip. So as you can see, mine is pretty well broken here on this tang, but I am still going to attempt to use it. You can replace these plugs pretty easily. They sell them as well. You just have to do a little bit of splicing. But like I said, I'm going to try and do my best just to keep using this unit, because the tang looks okay. It's just that plastic housing that'll help line it up into our new one, because you can see those holes right there that they would slide into. Now to remove this, there is just two obvious bolts / screws right here. Those are going to be 8mm. I'm just going to use a little ratchet here. There we go, 8mm. And go ahead and get those removed. So they're not going to be on very tight. It's plastic. You're never going to want to over tighten these. So you can see how I'm loosening it. My hand is very close to the top of the wrench. So just remember that when you're putting in the new unit, that it's going to be barely tightened. You don't want to crack these, because then it won't work for you. So I'm just going to finish loosening these up, and then we will pull it off and put our new one in place. So just going to put those on the top here and pull straight up like that. And you'll see there's a little grommet on that. You can replace this, of course, but I'm going to go ahead and try and take it off and put it on our new one right here. Alright, so we got our old grommet on our new unit. Now this is definitely a do as I say, not as I do moment, where I would probably go ahead and replace this, or at least just double check to make sure it's making a good seal. But like I said, I'm kind of in a pinch, so I'm going to go ahead and replace that into the hole there, and then we're going to line up our bolts here, and we're going to re-thread this, and then once those are tightened, I'm going to carefully put the plug back in and then we can reconnect our negative battery. Now, before I exit here, I do want to send a quick reminder that the issues that you would likely be having with this, with having, you know, your RPM going up and down, or having inconsistent idle, or running pretty poorly, is also fairly common with a major vacuum leak. Now, this engine specifically has tons of vacuum lines, and so having a series of different issues could cause very similar responses and symptoms that a faulty one of these. So I would definitely go through everything. I'm at a point where I'm basically replacing everything just so that I can kind of refresh the engine, just because it's been sitting for a while. But you'll notice this is disconnected here. This would normally be connecting to here, and this is what it looked like. And so you see how cracked that is? So the issue with that is you need pressure in order to operate a lot of these functions. And when there's a lot of cracks, it's getting different levels of air than it's supposed to, and air is coming into the engine that's not supposed to, and the engine freaks out. So whenever you're replacing parts like this, I would just go through all of your rubber lines. Like I said, there's a number of ones on this side. There's plenty on this side as well. Like this line, they get cracked, get holes in them. So just a quick reminder that when you're replacing stuff like this, to address that problem of having that rough idle, make sure you're double checking all your vacuum lines as well. Make sure there's no splits or anything in those, and then you should be okay. So thank you very much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.